All right, let's get started on episode 3. We're going to create a new branch now. So let's check and see where we're at. Hit branch. And we're on the main branch. So we want to make sure that anything in our main branch is up to date, and it is. So now we're going to create a new branch. Get checkout -b episode 3. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is add a license to our package. So we can pull up use this, and then we're going to use MIT license. We're going to type in our name, and you'll see that this file has updated in the description here. And then we also have a license file, which has our name in it. Okay. Now we're going to add get branch this information. So now you see here, what you can see is we've created our README here, and we've added some files. Use this, added a file to our build ignore. Okay, and then we've got our license here. So we've successfully created this branch and we've pushed it to GitHub. Now we can go ahead and create a pull request, or we can just wait. Right now I'm going to wait. So let's install and restart, because it's just a good habit to continuously install and restart your package. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up our database. So we're going to create a folder called Postgres. Okay. And we're going to move into that folder. So cd Postgres. Okay. And you could also create the files that I'm going to create just by clicking into your Postgres folder, right? So we're creating a Postgres folder here. And then inside the Postgres folder, we're going to add some files. So actually, we can do this the easy way. So click on New File, Text File. Okay. Now we're going to save as, and inside of the Postgres folder, we're going to call this docker-compose.yaml, YAML. Okay. And we're going to create a Docker Compose file. So this is going to basically be the instructions for our database. And what I'm going to suggest that you do is take this file either from the repository itself, or do this exactly as I say here. So here goes nothing. So we're going to type in version. All right, so what did we write here? We're saying we want to use Postgres version 13.1. Let's put always here actually. So always means that the database will always start if it fails, or if we restart our computer, it's always going to try and restart. Okay. Now we're going to talk more about ports, but ports are basically like windows in a computer. So port 5432 maps to port 5432 on my computer. So if you think of this as two different computers, we're basically saying they're going to talk to each other through the port 5432. And then 5432 port on the container is going to be open. So this is basically saying, okay, so there's two windows, 5432 on the outside, 5432 on our computer, and 5432 on the container. And the container is also going to have its window open, right? So if you don't expose or open the port 5432, then you still can't have that communication. Now, the .m file is something we're about to create, but this has our passwords in it. And then the volumes statement here is saying that the data that we have in our database, actually we need a colon here. The data that we have in our database is actually stored in this file path. It's going to take the data that is in this file path and save it on our local computer in a volume that Docker is going to manage for us. So basically, each time we start and stop the container, we're going to be able to persist information over time. All right, so now we need to create a .env file. And we're going to add some passwords. Okay, so this is the username for the database. This is the password for the database, and then this is the database name that you would put in. So actually, I'm just going to keep this as is. Okay, so we're going to call this .env, and we want to make sure that it's in our Postgres folder here. Okay, so now we can go to Postgres, right? And we can see if we have anything running, and we don't. Okay. So what I'm going to do here now that we've created these two files, is add a gitignore. So let's create the gitignore, new file, text file, and then this is going to say .env. Okay. And we're going to call this .gitignore. And we also want this in the Postgres folder. So we've got .env and .gitignore. So here you can see this .env file. So we don't want to put our passwords on GitHub. So if we use a gitignore file and we put the name of that file in the gitignore file in any given folder, then Git won't track it. So you have to create this file on your own. We're not going to be able to push it to GitHub. Okay, so now let's create our database. So I'm going to run docker compose up -d. Okay, so now let's see if it's running. Docker container ls, and it's running on 5432, and it's called Postgres Database 1. Okay, so now let's open up DataGrip. You may have another Postgres client like pgadmin. You can do very similar things with that type of software, but I'm going to use DataGrip because that's just what you should be using, quite honestly. Click on this plus sign here. Okay, data source. And then you can click on PostgreSQL. Okay, so we are running on localhost. I'm going to download the missing driver files here. Unicorn user. And then magical _ password. Okay. And then the database is Rainbow Database. We're going to test our connection. And we see that it works and we're connected. Okay. And we're in. We are currently able to access our new database. Nothing exists here yet because we haven't put anything in it, but we are successfully running Postgres on our local computer. What we want to do is save our changes. So I'm going to stop the containers, docker compose down. And I'm going to also type in here touch readme ND. We're going to create a readme file. And we're going to put some information in there. Here's what we did. So you need to create this .m file in the Postgres folder, okay? And then from that folder, run docker compose up and then docker compose down to stop it. The -d means to detach or stop the process in your terminal, which is very useful. So this is what I run to actually start it. If you wanted to actually see what's happening inside of your containers, right? So, all right, so we'll stop our Docker container. All right, so docker compose up -d to start and detach the container, docker compose down to stop it, docker compose logs if you want to follow the logs for your container. And then if all else fails, you can just run all of this stuff down here and get rid of everything and completely restart from scratch. But since we got this up and running successfully, I'm going to run git add --all, git commit -m, updated docker file, docker compose for Postgres, and added readme for docker compose as well. Git push origin episode 3. Okay. So we've pushed it to GitHub. All right. Now I'm going to actually go into GitHub and then click on repositories, Reddit suite, and then we're going to pull request episode 3 into main here. Okay. And you see we've added the license. This got added. This got added. We've got a .m file here. And then for the git ignore, right? And then we've got what we need to add, and then the docker compose file, but we don't have the .m file itself, right? Because it's here, which is good, right? This is something you pass along and you maintain yourself. So this all looks good. So I'm going to push this into my main branch. So we've created the pull request and it looks good to go. Again, you could double check the files changed, but this is what we want. And then we make sure that we go to our pull request. Okay, episode 3 pull request goes into main. We're going to merge, confirm merge. All right. Now we close this file, and then locally we go to git checkout main. Okay. All right, and then git pull origin main. Oop, yeah, git pull origin. You can leave off the main here. And then git checkout -b episode 4. And now we're ready to do the next episode. All right, thanks.